56-0, Tennessee shuts out Vanderbilt to conclude the regular season. First 10-win regular season since 2003. Austin Price, Brent Hubbs, Cain. I thought Tennessee would respond the right way, which it did. Something awesome than how we're talking about the 2-minute drill. I didn't expect a shutout. I didn't expect 56 points with a backup quarterback. I didn't expect a punt return for a touchdown. Tennessee really did play clean in all three phases.
Well, I didn't expect 4 runs of over 50-plus yards in the second half. And, I didn't expect 0 points. I mean, Tennessee came ready to play. They found a way to get off the field. I thought they missed 2 or 3 golden opportunities to get turnovers. Jeremy Banks dropped a couple of picks, but he played well. Defensively, they just, they were much more sound tonight. And, Tennessee's offensive line, even with the patchwork offensive line there in the second half, going to some backups, still had a lot of success. However, your thoughts on Wesley Walker at safety?
Well, he made a play in a jet sweep that we've been looking for all season long. He wasn't perfect, I'm sure, but I liked how he played. I think that if you're Tennessee, you got to make sure Wesley Walker's on your roster next year. You got to
because he could grad transfer.
Yeah, you could, and I think he'll be back, but he has an understanding of the game. He senses and feels the game just on the one play that he made. He saw the formation, he saw the motion, he kept creeping to the line of scrimmage, and he made a really good play. So I like what I saw out of Wesley Walker. I liked what I saw out of Tennessee. I'm with you, Eric. I said in 10 things I thought they would respond. Yep. I didn't think 56-0. I should never, ever pick a game ever in my life, ever again, because I've not been close to anything.
Well, you had Tennessee winning this week.
Yeah, but I wasn't. I had Vanderbilt scoring points, okay? Like a lot of points, not a lot, but a good number of points.
Well, based off Tennessee's defense last week, I can't blame you.
Here's the thing, and I don't want to take anything away from anything Tennessee did. Tennessee, the shutout was a surprise to me. The big long runs in the second half were a surprise to me. I thought Vanderbilt laid down.
They did.
I thought Vanderbilt.
They were like running on air.
I don't want to take anything away from what Tennessee accomplished, because Tennessee was going to win the game before all of that happened. But after that first long run in the second half, Vanderbilt was done. They wanted no more of it. And how that team beat Florida and won at Kentucky, I have no idea.
Like 2 scores in the second half, pretty much until the end.
But give Tennessee credit. They came over here shorthanded. This is as shorthanded as they have been in the Josh Heupel era in terms of scholarship guys that came over here. They were down probably around 60, maybe in the upper 50s in terms of scholarship guys here.
Ooh.
Bunch of walk-ons were here, and those guys went and got it done. So hats off to Tennessee for bouncing back the way they did.
I still, and I know it's garbage time at the end, and you're right. I think Vanderbilt had kind of just checked out, but I still like those young pieces on Tennessee's defense going forward. I think we go Tyree West.
He had a sack.
2 sacks.
Two sacks.
James Pierce shows. I was down the field at the end, so I don't remember him flashing it off. He even got the game, to be honest with you. But point is like he's flashed at certain points of the year. Josh Josephs had a huge pressure early when Vanderbilt was still in the football game. Mm-hmm. He bull rushed a guy and got there and affected the throw. I
like the way that Caleb Perry plays special teams. Again, he hadn't gotten much run defensively as some of the young guys you're talking about, but that's why this coaching staff likes the young guys in Herring and Caleb Perry. Caleb Perry made a couple plays on special teams tonight as well. That will translate.
Well, and you need some of those guys, whether it's Chaz Nimrod. You just don't know what's going to happen in a bowl game. Who's going to opt out, where you're going to be. You need some of those guys to really grow in bowl practice. This is a big time for some of those players that have flashed to really take a huge step forward over the next 30 days. And I think some of those young guys are going to need to.
And I'll say this too. You've talked about it all year long. Scheduling falling a lot of Tennessee's way. Okay, you can argue whether the South Carolina game was a trap game, whatever. Tennessee got beat. They got it handed to them. No. But this was a nice opponent to play to get your defense well. Mike Wright can't throw the ball 25 yards down the field.
He can't.
So guess what? Kamal Haddon gets to squat. Right? Those corners get to squat and get a little bit of confidence back.
Yeah, Christian Charles,
Your safeties are not worried about the ball getting thrown over your head.
Christian Charles got hit on that double move.
He did. He gave up one.
Down,
but my point being, until they went to A.J. Swan, there was no fear in the secondary getting the ball thrown over your head, which was a good confidence builder for Tennessee and a good thing. And it was very nice to have that available with all the injuries that you're dealing with right now. I will also say this too. I'll give Kamal Hadden some credit. They talked to him this week. They got in him, and he was under control tonight. Did he jaw a little bit? Yeah, he did a little bit, but it was nothing like we saw.
It's okay to jaw if you make a play.
Yeah, he was under control tonight. That's a step forward. I don't know if it can continue or not, but that was a step forward.
And it was good to see too, because not only did he not play well, not only did he make himself look stupid last week with the jawing. I mean, in the eyes of fans, I mean, that's one of the most frequent questions I got asked all week long. Hey, why do they continue to play him? Well, they didn't have anybody else. And so, good to see him bounce back. You talk about one quarterback, let's go to the other. Joe Milton was not perfect, overthrew a number of targets tonight. The weather conditions were not great, but he didn't turn the football over. And again, it's a very slick ball. He operated the offense efficiently, had a run game to his back. What did you guys think about Joe Milton tonight?
I'm going to go first here because everybody's heard my take on the 2-minute drill. And I want to get Hubs' take. I think going in the bowl game, they've got to figure out, they don't throw a ton of crossing patterns in this offense, but that's honestly one of the throws he makes, really accurately. It felt like in the second half, it was like 70-yard throw, 70-yard throw, 70. It's like, we're just going to chuck it deep on every play. Like, they just didn't do a whole lot in the intermediate game. He started, like 6 of 9 for over 100 yards, and then ends like 11 of 21 for like $150. I mean, like he didn't know a whole lot after that 6 for 9 start.
No, I mean he finished. I think he missed his last 4 to close out the first half. He still overthrew. He overthrew receivers.
Yeah.
Now here's what you don't know. You got to go back and watch the tape and look at it again to see were some of those receivers jammed at the line of scrimmage. I know one Squirrel White was held on because Josh Heupel was raising Cain with the officials on that. So it looked like a really bad overthrow. But I think Squirrel got detained, if you will, and held up there. But he still missed some stuff. I'm with you. I think you got to let him throw it.
He missed that one to Fant. Now, was that a wet ball potentially? I mean,
No, that was overthrown. He threw it way, because you're talking about the post. He threw it way far inside. Fant got a hand on it.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That was a bad throw.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he let him too much there. I mean, I don't know if Fant, turned that straight up the field a little bit and should have come on across a little bit more. But that was just I would call that an overthrow. That was just a miss. The best ball he threw all night, Ramel Keaton dropped down the sidelines. That's the best ball he threw in terms of airing it out, getting some some height on the ball. So here's the thing: he wasn't perfect by any means, but he did take care of the ball in ugly weather conditions. He checked some stuff. He said on the postgame show with the Vol Network that the play to Walker Merrill, the touchdown there was a check that he made reading the secondary coverage. So I think for a guy who hadn't started in 440 days and probably spent most of this year going, I ain't playing unless it's a blowout deal, I thought it was okay. Was it great? No, but certainly it was manageable and you could win with it. Now, he got off to a great start. He got up 21-0. There wasn't a whole lot of pressure on him because he's out there going, they ain't scoring 21 points.
So let's chug it deep.
He continues to take snaps at football games where there's no pressure. Because you're right. I mean, Tennessee was up 21-0 before you blinked your eye in the first quarter. And again, we'll learn a lot more after we go back and rewatch and everything. But he is not Hendon Hooker. Okay, and that's something that Tennessee fans are so spoiled by because Hendon was so good. Joe's a different. Joe does some similar things, but he's a different guy. And so I think we all just need to remember that this is not Hendon Hooker we're seeing out there.
And they didn't run him at all.
Nothing changes in our offense. Yeah. We're going to go play to win. They got off to the quick start, and there was no point. They absolutely should not have run. If they would have run him, we would have all been going, what in the world were they thinking running him there?
And I said this on the board, too. I mean, if it was a tie ball game in the third quarter, run him. You got to win the football game, run him. But, I mean, again, there was no point. Another kind of a wacky day in college football, guys. We'll know more as we get on into the rest of the weekend after Championship Saturday, Austin. But where do you kind of see Tennessee bowling right at this point in time?
If you ask me where I think they're going, I think they're going to go to Miami because I think that Tennessee will stay ahead of Penn State.
Are we having Christmas together?
Because they had, I think it's very possible we have to leave on Christmas. Yippee! But hey, December 30th, I'd rather be in Miami than Dallas. The best thing that happened to Tennessee today was LSU lost. LSU lost to a bad A&M team. And that I'm going to see how Tennessee lost to South Carolina. South Carolina's 8-4,
and just beat Clemson.
Yeah. So
at Clemson.
So does that? I mean, like they plummeted 5 spots. How many spots is LSU going to plummet?
Oh, they should. They should fall. I mean,
Fall.
Listen, late season.
And they got beat down.
Yeah, late
And
season
A&M
losses.
sucks.
Yeah, late season losses are bad in general. Okay, the later you lose in the year, seems like the harder you fall.
Yep.
Right? You can't overcome it. And for LSU to lose that game now, and that puts them at what 3 losses now.
Yep.
I mean, that's a bad loss to a team that had laid down and quit, had showed no pulse. Here's the other thing too. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but LSU's not played very well the last couple of weeks. They've not been overly impressive. They barely beat Arkansas.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, and so to go lay that egg today, I think they fall hard. That's certainly good news.
So
for
and
Tennessee.
then
After next weekend, they're going to have 4
And then the
losses.
other team to watch out for there was Notre Dame, just because they're a national brand. They had kind of gotten hot after that slow start, and had they beaten USC, they were going to start getting some more momentum and rocketing up. Now they're gone. They're gone. So because the Orange Bowl is top-ranked ACC team, not in the playoff, which is going to be Clemson if they win next week, and then their other pick is top-ranked Big Ten / SEC / Notre Dame. Well, that's where Tennessee comes into play, and so I thought it was a real win today for Tennessee to get the to get the win here, but to obviously kind of see what else happened around college football. I mean, listen, they're not going to put Tennessee ahead of Alabama, but you can't argue the 2 resumes. No, again, they're not going to do it, but I see enough people. I mean, I saw Clay and a few people out there tweeting about it. It's true though. What's Alabama's best win? They don't have one, and they have no resume. They have the same amount of losses Tennessee does. And yet they'll be ahead of Tennessee by probably 2 spots. I think Tennessee will be 7 when the college football playoff rankings come out on Tuesday. Oregon lost, they'll drop. LSU lost, they'll drop. And so they'll end up being 7. But
I think Bama stays at 6 and Tennessee's 7. And I think your top 5 are going to be in some order.
Ohio State's going to be 5.
Georgia, Michigan, TCU, USC, and Ohio State. And I think the big question is, does Ohio State fall behind USC or not fall behind USC? They should fall behind, given how bad they were beaten at home today. It should. I've seen a couple things on Twitter from some national football writers saying they're staying in the top 4. I think they should be 5. USC should.
They're
be
not.
4.
And I'm gonna be real honest with you. I think had Tennessee, let's say last week sucks. There's no erasing that. It is what it is. But if TCU wins next week, I think Tennessee was gonna be left out, because I think USC closing with wins over UCLA, Notre Dame, and Utah next week because Oregon lost. They were going to pass Tennessee up as the Pac-12 champ, in my opinion, because there was going to be this clamor for Southern Cal and Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams in the playoff.
1 loss, Power 5.
Yes. So I again, that's all depending on if TCU wins next week. But at this point, everybody's starting to kind of pencil TCU in, even if they lose to Kansas State. Just because of their resume, it's better than Ohio State's. Ohio State's not got a resume either. I mean, that's the kind of the ridiculous part of all this. Is I'd love to hear the justification for some of the rankings, because it's going to be interesting to kind of see how it all plays out.
So yeah, we'll see exactly how it does play out. College football playoff rankings will come out on Tuesday. Championship Saturday will happen next Saturday, and Tennessee will wait to see where it goes bowling, if it's going to be the Orange Bowl, which seems more likely now than it did before the day started, if it's going to be Cotton Bowl. Citrus Bowl is out of the equation because Tennessee took care of business here at Vanderbilt.
And I'll close with this. Kudos to this program, to Josh Heupel,
10 wins.
his coaching staff. It's 10 wins. It's not the ones you want. You can never erase last week. There's none of that. But this team got off the deck. This is a game you got to go win, okay? I don't want to say a crossroads game and all that, but you cannot limp in with 2 losses at the finish line. Ugly weather conditions, cold. Did they want to play? Did they not want to play?
55 guys or whatever it was. No hit and no curve.
They wanted to play. They showed up and wanted to play, and they ended this game early. That's a credit to Josh Heupel and this program.
I'll be real honest. Enough of those kids know kind of all that nonsense, all those nonsense rumors that were out there about the defense quit and this broke jaw this and broke jaw that. They knew that they could go out and silence some of that stuff with a win. I talked to enough of them this week that was very much on their mind, was the crap that was out there.
There were players on the record, and we referenced talking to several players off the record that said the same thing. So I'm with you. I think they showed that tonight. So Anyway, Tennessee wins in a big way, 56-0, the shutout win over Vanderbilt. We'll have full coverage over at Volquest.com throughout the night and on Sunday. For Austin Price, Brent Hubbs, I am Eric Cain here on this post-game mini-podcast. Tennessee a winner over Vanderbilt.